Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Prabhupada Jai, Prabhupada Jaya, Prabhupada, Prabhupada Jai, Prabhupada Jaya, Gurudev, Srila Gurudev Jaya, Gurudev, Srila Gurudev Jaya, Gurudev, Srila Gurudev Jaya, Gurudev, Srila Gurudev. Jai Vishnupad Paramhams Parivajak Acharya Studu Sat Srimad Srila Abhay Charnavrind Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Anant Kodi Vaishnavrind Ki Jai, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai, Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai, Vitai Gaur Premanande Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Shrimadaya Krishna Krishna Pradesham Jaya Pataka Swami Niti Namine Mojara Pradana Daya Gadavana Muragata Namanaya Mangarinam Mojara Padaya Krishna Krishna Nishimada Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Sarsati Devi Shatanine Bhagavatam the book, the main book is missing. I'll drink some water. Thank you. Mark. Thank you, Vaishnav. Yes. 623, right? Yeah. Jai Ho. Thank you, Prabhu. For glory. Today we are reading from Canto 2 of Srimad Bhagavatam, finally appeared. The Cosmic Manifestation, Chapter 6, Purusha Shukta confirmed. Today we are doing text number 23. We'll all do Mangal Charan. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalan Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vangsha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vashadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya 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 Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudiraye Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagvat Sevayat Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Shri Guru Dinataranam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Text 23. Yadhasya nabhyan nalinad Yadhasya nabhyan nalinad Aham asam mahatmanah Aham asam mahatmana Navidam yagna sambharan Navidam yagna sambharan Purushavayavan rite Purushavayavan rite Yadhasya nabhyan nalinad Yadhasya nabhyan nalinad Aham asam mahatmanah Aham asam mahatmanah Navidam yagna sambharan Navidam yagya sambharan Purushavayavan rite Purushavayavan rite Vaishnava Yadhasya nabhyan nalinad aham asam mahatmanaha na vidham yagna sambharan Purushavayavan Vrite. Word for word. Yada. At the time of. Asya. His. Nabhyad. From the abdomen. Analinad. From the lotus flower. Aham. Myself. Asam. Took my birth. Mahatmanaha. Of the great person, Navidham, did not know, Yagna, sacrificial, Sambharan, ingredients, Purusha, of the Lord, Avayan, personal bodily limbs, Rite, except. Translation purport by His Divine Grace, Abhay Charnarvind, Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Translation. When I was born from the abdominal lotus flower of the Lord Mahavishnu, the great person, I had no ingredients for sacrificial performances except the bodily limbs of the great personality of Godhead. Purport. Lord Brahma, the creator of the cosmic manifestation, is known as Swayambhu, or one who is born without father and mother. The general process is that a living creature is born out of sex combination of the male father and the female mother. But Brahma, the firstborn living being, is born out of the abdominal lotus flower of Mahavishnu, plenary expansion of Lord Krishna. The abdominal lotus flower is part of the Lord's bodily limbs, and Brahma is born out of the lotus flower. Therefore, Lord Brahma is also a part of the Lord's body. Brahma, after his appearance in the gigantic hollow of the universe, saw darkness and nothing else. He felt perplexity, and from his heart he was inspired by the Lord to undergo austerity, thereby acquiring the ingredients for sacrificial performance. But there was nothing besides the two of them, namely the personality of Mahavishnu and Brahma himself, born of the bodily part of the Lord. For sacrificial performances, many ingredients were in need, especially animals. Animal sacrifice is never meant for killing the animals, but for achieving the successful result of the sacrifice. The animal offered in the sacrificial fire is, so to speak, destroyed, but the next moment it is given a new life by the dint of the Vedic hymns chanted by the expert priest. When such an expert priest is not available, the animal sacrifice in the fire of the sacrificial altar is forbidden. Thus Brahma created even the sacrificial ingredients out of the bodily limbs of the Garbhodakshahi Vishnu, which means that the cosmic order was created by Brahma himself. Also, nothing is created out of nothing, but everything is created from the person of the Lord. The Lord says in Bhagavad Gita 10.8, Aham sarvasya prabhavo mattaha sarvam pravartate. Everything is made from my bodily limbs, and I am therefore the original source of all creations. The impersonalists argue that there is no use in worshipping the Lord when everything is nothing but the Lord himself. The personalists, however, worship the Lord out of great sense of gratitude, utilizing the ingredients born out of the bodily limbs of the Lord. The fruits and flowers are available from the body of the earth, and yet Mother Earth is worshipped by the sensible devotees with ingredients born from the earth. Similarly, Mother Ganges is worshipped by the water of the Ganges, and yet the worshipper enjoys the result of such worship. Worship of the Lord is also performed by the ingredients born from the bodily limbs of the Lord. And yet, the worshipper, who is himself a part of the Lord, achieves the result of devotional service to the Lord. While the impersonalists wrongly conclude that he is the Lord himself, the personalists, out of a great gratitude, worships the Lord in devotional service, knowing perfectly well that nothing is different from the Lord. The devotee therefore endeavors to apply everything in the service of the Lord, because he knows that everything is the property of the Lord, and that no one can claim anything as one's own. This perfect conception of oneness helps the worshipper in being engaged in his loving service, whereas the impersonalist, being falsely puffed up, remains a non-devotee forever without being recognized by the Lord. Be fired up. So here we see Brahma is answering the questions that Narad Muni has placed in front of him. And he first begins by the question that Narad Muni asked, that, is there a creator for you, for Brahma? So here he is saying that yes, there is actually, that he was actually born from a lotus flower. And here Srila Prabhupada uses the word Mahavishnu and Garbhodakshayi Vishnu interchangeably. Right? And the reason why this is done is in the Sambandha principle, Shankarshan and Pradyumna are together. Sometimes Shankarshan takes the main principle, sometimes Pradyumna takes the main principle. Right? There are 6 qualities of Krishna, the Shadaishwaryas. Right? Name, fame, opulence, wealth, knowledge, renunciation. Right? So these 6 principles, the way it works is in the Chaturvyuhas, which is Sankarshan, Pradyumna, Vasudeva and Aniruddha. 2 principles belong to Shankarshan, which is, I think, Jnana and Bala. And then in Pradyumna, you will get Tejas and wealth. Right? So opulence and beauty. Right? Tejas and Shri. I think Shri is used for beauty, right? I think Shri is used for beauty. So these 2 are given to Pradyumna. And then Aniruddha has the leftover. So 2, 2, 2, there are 6 qualities, and Vasudev has all 6. Okay, he has all 6 qualities. So now, Shankarshan and Pradyumna, they have these 2 qualities, right? So sometimes you see the Sankarshan principle is more prominent, sometimes you see the Pradyumna principle is more prominent. So Bhaktividya Poon Maharaj explains this very nicely. He explains this concept very nicely, that sometimes one is more prominent, sometimes the other is. They are all the same personality. It is Krishna, but Krishna showing different qualities. Right? So the Purusha avatars are called Tadekatma avatars. So in Tadekatma, it is Krishna himself, but in different volume, like showing different qualities. So here we actually see that Brahma is actually first saying that he is born out of the lotus flower. And we will actually see this very interestingly even in Dwaraka. So in Dwaraka you have Krishna. So Krishna is Vasudeva. Okay. His son is Pradyumna. Okay. And in Pradyumna you have Aniruddha. His son is Aniruddha. And then Aniruddha's son is Vajra. So Vajra also means the middle of the lotus. So you will see this construct physicalized in the Dwaraka Leela. So the sun, so very nicely sets up, right? So here we will see that Brahma, he comes out of this lotus flower. And one of the names of Krishna is also Brahma in Vaikuntha. So here it is explained that whenever we use the term Brahma, we generally have to understand through which angle the name Brahma is being taken. Sometimes the angle that the name Brahma is being taken is through Vishnu, and sometimes the angle that is taken is through Jiva. Right? So it depends on which one we are describing. So here obviously we are talking about the Jiva, that because he is born. And here this is Yadhasya Nabhyan Nalinad. So Nabhya means from the abdomen, and Nalinad means the lotus flower. This is explained that this being born from the abdominal process is pretty much how humans are also born. Humans also have this abdominal what do you call that? I forgot what it's called. The track. The track that is, the babies use to get fed. So we can actually see that is pretty much how a living being also takes birth. So this is coming from the principle of Vishnu, right? And so then Aham Asam Mahatmanaha. Here we can see Brahma confirming that he is born from Mahavishnu. From Vishnu, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, Mahavishnu. He is born from him. Now, this next part is very nice. Navidam yagya sambharan. So here it is saying that he did not know how to perform yagya. Right? So because you have to do sacrifice to get something. Now Brahma is born, he is born in a lotus flower. And it is interesting that when we think about somebody being born in a lotus flower, that position of being in a lotus flower is very delicate. Because it is explained that in a lotus flower, if there is a drop of water, it can fall down. Lotus flower is very expert at removing things that it doesn't want. And so that is why Bhaktivinoda Swami says, Kamala Jaladala Jivana Talamala. That this life is like a drop of water on a lotus flower. It can fall down anytime. So here Brahma is the representation of that. He is actually sitting in the lotus flower. And you should always make sure that you're a devotee. Otherwise, one may fall down. So it is good to see somebody, representing that principle, right? So here we see that Brahma is saying that he did not know how to perform yagyas. He did not know what to do. The reason why he points this out is because Narad Muni actually asks him that, are you the creator? You are the all-knower. So he begins with these concepts that you are the creator, you are the all-knower. So here Brahma is beginning to refute those points, that I am not the all-knower and I am not the creator. So he's beginning to refute those points, right? So this the next few shlokas will be Brahma positioning himself as I am but a servitor of Krishna, right? So this is how this shloka is going. Now the last line, which is Purusha Vayavan Rite, is actually explaining that he uses the body parts of Krishna, right, to perform the yajna. Now one may think that this seems a bit, these crazy people, they're using body parts to do yajnas. But actually it is explained that Krishna is everything. Here Srila Prabhupada in the purport, he says, Aham sarvasya prabhavo. Right? So he says, Krishna says that everything originates from me. And also in Srimad Bhagavatam, in the Chatushlokis of Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishna says, Aham evasam evagre, that everything is coming from me. Right? And so this principle of everything coming from Krishna forms the basis, right, of our understanding. Because everything is coming from Krishna, therefore whatever I am using is Krishna. Right? It is the body parts of Krishna. Everything. Right? We are also the part and parcels of Krishna. And we are the ones using other parts and parcels of Krishna. So that is interesting. Right? So once we see this doesn't seem all that, weird. Now, as a devotee, how do we see this? As a devotee, we see this, Purusha Vayavan Rite, that this principle is the principle of chanting. That when we chant Krishna's name, we are actually calling out to Krishna himself. Right? So this Purusha, which is Krishna, the process of chanting is actually doing the exact same thing that Brahma is doing. Now Brahma can actually visualize this. He can see that this is Krishna and I am using Krishna to pray to Krishna. He can see this. Right? He is able to see, I am sitting in this lotus flower, I want to do a yajna. This is Lord Krishna, Vishnu himself, and I am using Vishnu to pray to Vishnu. Now this same thing, we as devotees, we apply the same principle. Right? We take Krishna, we start chanting Krishna's name, and this same principle of using Krishna to attract Krishna is used. Right? It's interesting, isn't it? That the same principle used by Brahma is also being used by devotees. And so in one sense, we are truly following our sampradaya. So in our sampradaya, Brahma is number one. Right? So we are actually following our sampradaya. We are following the exact same principles being used by Brahma in our process. Right? And so this is quite, for us, this is very enlivening to see that the process of chanting equates to the process that Brahma has used. Right? And so here we see Srila Prabhupada actually mentioning an explicit point of animal sacrifice. One thing we have to appreciate that in the material world, the axiom is jivo jivasya jivanam. One life is another life's life. This is a Vedanta sutra, that this is how the material world works. If I have to live, some other life has to give way. Right? The reason why this becomes the fundamental principle is that the fact that one wants to lord over the material world is built in our very existence. The very existence of the spiritual life is that I am the servant of Krishna. That is the very existence of the spiritual life. The very existence of the material life is that I want to lord over everything. Right? So it is a perverted reflection. In one part, we are the servant of the Lord. In other part, we want to lord over the servants. Right? So this switch over is the fundamental principles of the material world. Jivo jivasya jivana. Now here we actually see that animal sacrifice that is being offered, right? Srila Prabhupada is actually emphatically mentioning that this animal sacrifice is not recommended in the age of Kali Yuga. Now, in some parts of India, they still do animal sacrifice. I remember as a kid, I was in my, I think it was my mom's village, and there they have this, what do you call them? Like they call Kul Devtas, like clan demigods. Like, if you have a clan, then your clan has a demigod. And we will actually see this principle also show up in various aspects in Srimad Bhagavatam, where it is explained that Rukmini Devi's, their clan's lord was Durga Devi. Right? So you see these principles of clan gods. So, my dad took me to a place where these guys sacrifice goats. So, they bring the goat to the specific area, and then they ask the goat that, do you agree to us killing you? Right? So they're talking to the goat, like I'm seeing, so I'm a young kid, I'm observing all this. I was looking at my dad, I'm like, Dad, what are they going to do? He said, just watch, they're going to sacrifice the goat. I was like, what? It's a bit shocking that someone's going to kill a goat. And then, I was a young kid. I must have been maybe 8 years old or something, not much older, right? 8, 9 years old. So I'm sitting and watching. They're talking to the goat, like, can we sacrifice you? And then, of course, you are not a great rishi or a great sadhu that you can talk to animals. Actually, in one of the 64 arts that Krishna learns, one of the arts is talking to animals. It's one of the arts. But of course, we don't have that art. So you know what they do? They had some water with them. So they put the water in the ear of the goat. And of course, when water goes in your ear, you shake your head, right? So the goat shakes it and they say, goat agreed. Oh God, Krishna. So there's goat agreed. And so then, of course, I was like shell-shocked. I was a kid. I'd never seen this. My dad was like, come see how these guys do sacrifice. And of course, I was like completely shaken about what they were doing. But when we see these things, we understand why Srila Prabhupada is saying this. When such an expert priest is not available, this animal sacrifice in the fire of sacrificial altar is forbidden. So this we have to appreciate, that it is actually not recommended to do animal sacrifice. It is not recommended, because I have practically seen how these people, they try to follow the ritual. Like, it's not like they're not following the ritual. They're following the ritual, but how they have manipulated it to a point that it's actually comical. Like, it's actually funny. Right? And you will also notice this principle even in other religions. Like in Muslim religion, they do halal. So when they kill the animal, they actually say prayers. Similar concept, animal sacrifice, similar. Right? But it is not recommended in Kali Yuga. So the only process of yajna that is recommended in Kali Yuga is the Sankirtan yajna. And you will notice that in Sankirtan yajna, you will notice similar principles. You are working with body parts. Right? You are working with body parts, right? So in one part, you are trying to kill animal body parts. Here we are actually using Krishna himself. Right? So of the two, instead of using the material body, one is using the spiritual body. Right? So first you see that commonality that Srila Prabhupada is bringing out. So Srila Prabhupada is bringing out this commonality that instead of using these body parts, use Krishna. Right? So it's very nicely he's saying, Everything is made from my bodily limbs. Srila Prabhupada translates Aham Sarvasya Prabhavo as that. Right? That everything is made from my bodily limbs. And so the reason why Srila Prabhupada makes this, he brings this point of bodily limbs out is to say that devotees are also doing sacrifice. They're also using body parts, only that they are using themselves and Krishna. So we are only using the spiritual concepts. We are using ourselves as a spirit soul, Krishna, ourselves as spirit soul, which is Brahman, right? Krishna as the super soul, Paramatma, Parabrahman. And so this is now a relationship of Brahman and Parabrahman. Right? So that aspect is what Srila Prabhupada is juicing out here. And he is now making the point that this impersonal argument is useless. Right? So it's amazing how Srila Prabhupada, he takes this one shloka, he brings out these amazing points, right? And then you're reading and you're thinking, man, it's quite fired up. Like, because if, and this is one of the main reasons why we need acharyas. Because, if I was to just see this, I'll be like, yeah, Brahma is born and it's done. But Srila Prabhupada, he's so amazing that he's bringing out these aspects. And then he's saying, therefore, this impersonal position that, oh, no, everything is Brahman, don't worry about Para-Brahman, is worthless. That is why Srila Prabhupada is saying it's worthless. Because he's saying that to complete a yajna, to complete a process of yajna, there must be the doer, and there must be the subject, and there must be the object. Right? So the subject is the doer. In this case, it is the person performing the sacrifice. And then there is the object, which is Krishna himself. And in both of these principles, an impersonalist removes the object. So he's sitting with the subject. So that's useless. Right? So Krishna, and it is quite amazing that in the future purports, both in Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, Srila Prabhupada makes the point that actually Krishna is both the subject and the object. So, he even takes it to that level. That Krishna is not only the object, he's also the subject. He's both. So that is an amazing point that that Srila Prabhupada brings out. And then that's why he says that there is no differentiation between Krishna and his name. Usually when we are there, if we have to call something, so it says, Prabhu, bring me the book. So the word, the book, and the physical book are two separate things. Right? So there is a separation. But in Krishna, the word and so a subject and the object both are exactly the same. So that's quite amazing. So in Krishna, the grammar is complete. He is the noun, he is the verb, right? And he's the pronoun, like the subject. Like he's the entire grammar. He's the totalitarian. So it's quite amazing actually. In Tattva Sandarbha, Jiva Goswami brings this point out, that once he explains Pramana, in his Prameya section, he actually brings out this point that Krishna is the sum total of entire grammar. And so that is why when Jiva Goswami writes, what is the grammar book? I forgot the name. Harinama Vyakarna. I think that's the name of the book. I don't remember the exact name. I think it's Harinam Vyakarna. So in this grammar book that Jiva Goswami writes, he begins with this idea that everything is Krishna. And I was reading this book, and it is amazing how Jiva Goswami takes these, interesting concepts and he turns it into Krishna consciousness. Like, you have the swaras. The swaras are like a, I, u, a, I. Those the Sanskrit, the vowels of Sanskrit. He turns, instead of using the word swaras, he says these are sarveshwaras. So he transforms everything into Krishna's name. Everything, right? He's saying these are swaras. No, these are sarveshwaras. Then you have your ka, kha, ga, gha. These are consonants and they are called varnas. Jiva Goswami says, no, these are Vishnu Janas. So Sarveshwara is the Lord's and Vishnu Janas are devotees. And he says devotees always depend on the Lord. So it's amazing, when that I was reading this, the Vyakarana book. And it is amazing how Jiva Goswami presents all these concepts. And he starts, he starts seeing Krishna in every part of the grammar. Like he's saying that, when you say okay, that is what you call is Vamana. So Vamana is, small Krishna. And when you do he says that is Trivikrama. So Vamana has now become Trivikrama. So it's amazing how Jiva Goswami brings this out, right? So this is very interesting. How when devotee starts looking at all of these principles, they completely destroy the position of an impersonalist. They said, no, your idea that there is no Krishna is completely worthless. Krishna is in everything. He's in the basic words. Right? These basic words, that is Krishna. So he says the words are also, they are emanating from Narayana and they are Narayana. So it's quite amazing, right? So yeah, we will end here. So it is 8:35. So from this section onwards, we see Brahma will now start glorifying how Garbhodakshai Vishnu and Mahavishnu help him in his journey of becoming a secondary creator and then starting to know things. So because when he is born, he is none of them. He is neither the creator nor is he all-knowing. So we'll see this journey of him getting to that point. And this gives us solace because we also don't know anything. But through the process of Krishna's mercy, through the process of Radha Gopinath's mercy, we will start learning things. Actually, I just remember, today is Ekadashi. Today we have to break fast at 10:30. So, as long as you know that. Today is, I think, breaking fast is 10:30. Yeah, today is that. Today, I don't know. Don't ask me why. I don't know. It's there in the calendar. Don't ask me why. But anyway, because in the morning I was about to, then I'm like, so yeah, have water. So yeah, we'll end here. Sorry, the devotees want to share something? No? Jai. Granth Raj Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari. Jai Jai. I don't know, it was coming, is he? I'll show you. See?